Howdy friends, hope you're all well. So, Dire Maul's been out for a bit, but there still seems to be plenty of money to be made in it, especially for Druids. I wanted to make a video showing you how I farm gold from Dire Maul North. Now, this farming route is available to any spec, but it's going to be much easier for balanced Druids or any spec that has improved Moonfire or Insect Swarm. So doing this as a Moonkin is going to be a lot easier than doing it as maybe a Feral Druid. And I'll show you why in a little bit. Alright, first thing you want to do when you enter is take a hard right, just like I showed you. Now, rule number 1 of Dire Maul North is avoid the hyenas. These dog packs that patrol around, avoid them when you're in stealth because they can see right through stealth. Just avoid them as if you weren't even invisible, otherwise they're going to aggro on you real quick. See, the reason you want to come over here is these insects. See, there's a large group of them, they're all chained together, so if you pull one, it pulls all of them. Alright, first you want to farm these packs of bugs. They can be a decent source of money, and you can AoE them down quite easily. In order to do this, you need to use Hurricane, and make sure you have Bark Skin on. Without Bark Skin, they'll just interrupt your Hurricane and kill you. Just to be safe though, I always pre-hop myself, but if you have Moonkin form, you probably won't need to. So after you burn them down, just be sure to heal yourself quickly and remove poisons, because if you're doing this in cloth, you can take quite a bit of damage and it's possible for the dots to finish you off. Once you get your mana back, you can just move to the next pack and do the exact same thing. Sometimes you'll get some stragglers that don't die from the initial AoE, but that's fine, you can just Moonfire them down. I've never had any that survived with any considerable amount of health. Sometimes I just try to melee them down, but right now my staff skill is not high enough, so I just Moonfire them and go to looting. Now before you get to the third group of insects, I need to warn you about these foul things. So these are called Warpwood Pods, and they're actually traps that if you walk too closely, they can activate, giving you a variety of problems, or sometimes if you're lucky, just giving you nothing. Usually though, they summon Lashers. I'm going to activate one right here just to show you, but these Lashers are really tough because they're immune to nature damage, so your Hurricane, Wrath spell don't work. They also have a chance of summoning a Gas Cloud, which does damage and can unstealth you, or they can give you an Entangling Root that has a really powerful dot. If you're farming mobs and kiting anyone, that will ultimately mean your death, so just avoid these things completely. As you do this run, you'll be more familiar with where they are. You can see here I'm mostly in intellect gear, so using bear form to swipe them down takes a really long time and actually lose quite a bit of health. Make your trip easier, avoid these the best you can. After you clear the third group of insects, you're going to come to this ledge here. Now this allows you to do this run, this ledge, because it allows you to kind of control where the mobs go. As you jump back and forth, it'll cause the mobs to run a really long distance around, giving you time to burn them down and use your dots on them. Now to start off, just be standing up here and start pulling them. You'll want to spread your dots out as much as possible and just keep them running around back and forth. You can see as I jump to the top, they'll run around, try to get me. As I jump back down, they'll come back towards me. So you can kind of control where they go. The trouble is sometimes they'll get caught on that tree and they will separate. You want them as bunched up as possible, but they'll start to lag out. The reason you don't want them to run all the way back up top is they'll aggro the boss if they do. It's not the worst thing if they do, he's just a little slower than them and he makes it a little more difficult. You can see here they did pull the boss, that's fine, half the time they do. The only real fatal mistake you can make is if they pull one of those ogre mages that patrol around. He'll shoot frost bolts at you from down there, you can't really control where he goes. So with fighting these, just burn them down. You'll want to use your Innervate at about 70 to 50% mana, just so it's available as soon as possible. It does take a long time to finish this off, so you got to be a little bit patient, but you'll get the rhythm of jumping back and forth down without any problem. You can see here though I did make a few mistakes. I got hit several times, and unfortunately one of these hyenas is getting a little separated from the rest. That makes it a lot harder. You want to keep them together just by jumping back and forth, keep burning them down. This guard down here, by himself, is actually a lot easier because he's very slow. You can kind of control where he goes. Just to be safe though, I'm getting clean distance from him with dash because he does have a really dangerous charge. If that charge happens, he'll knock you back, knock you off, and sometimes he'll knock you into more hyenas. So I'm going to just burn him down from up here. I'll speed up the video so you can see how it works, but it's really just a slow and steady process to let your dots finish him off. You can see the fight takes quite a long time. Most of that time you're just waiting for mana to regenerate. I don't recommend bringing anything like mana pots because you're trying to make money. You don't want to spend money, otherwise that'll make your run a lot less profitable. It's hard to give an exact gold per hour you get from this just because I've never had a consistent runs. All my runs are really just kind of random because you want weapons to drop. If weapons drop, they vendor for quite a lot more. But if they don't drop, you won't make much. I did it for about 2 hours and made 25 gold, so I guess about 13 an hour is my income. but I've also made quite a few mistakes as I did it. I died a few times, so I think as I get better, I'll be able to make more. Just some tricks to keep in mind. There is a warpwood pod right here next to these vines. If you get too close, this can really mess you up because you could get rooted in place and the hyenas will catch you. You'll just take extra damage. Lashers will jump out and that'll really mess you up. So just make sure you avoid this thing like the plague. Another trick right here is this path. It's not actually very easy to get up. It's not as easy as just simply running up the top. You kind of have to zigzag like this in order to get to the top. When you're in a panic or in a hurry, like say a mob is coming and you just fell off, sometimes you can mess it up. So practice this a few times before you pull. Another thing to watch out for is the boss has a charge that will knock you back. Be very careful about that. This has been the #1 thing that's killed me. He'll get just a little bit too close, or if he has too long of a line of sight of you, he'll charge up and knock you off. Just to be safe, I try to keep my back in a position that if he knocks me back, I'll go back onto the ledge so he has to walk around to get me. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a good spot to make some money if you just want to play solo and be left alone for a bit. I usually come here and just watch a video on another screen and chill. Oh, and by the way, I actually wrote my own novel. You're welcome to check it out on Amazon if you enjoy thrilling tales of adventure or just want to support what I do. Link is in the description below. You can read more about it on the Amazon page. Well, anyway, thank you for your time, and I will see you guys next time.